Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today. I know at the start of most of my videos I hit you guys with an icebreaker, whether it be a joke, skit, something completely random and off the walls, but I just wanted to start off with a thank you. This channel's been getting demonetized a ton lately. Last week's Cyberpunk video, demonetized. Yesterday's Bethesda video, demonetized. Do I have a clue why? Of course not, but I just wanted to thank those of you who have gone the extra mile, supported me on Patreon, supported me on Twitch, whether it be with subscriptions or donations or bits. Going that extra mile makes it a lot less strenuous here on YouTube, where it's moody and you don't know if one day you're gonna be demonetized, one day your channel's gonna be here, one day it's gonna be gone. Who knows what's gonna happen? Each day is a mystery, so I just wanted to thank you guys who provide me with that additional security. Maybe this isn't the video specifically for it, but I just wanted to give you guys a big amount of love. All right, so you're here to talk about an RPG that not a lot of folks are giving attention to, and this is a post-apocalyptic kung fu open world RPG that was revealed back in 2017, but then it disappeared, and that RPG is BioMutant. This was a game that was on my radar. It's being published by THQ Nordic and developed by a tiny developer of 18 people called Experiment 101. Well, BioMutant has finally returned via IGN's Summer of Gaming event that they had ongoing throughout most of June. They have a 9-minute gameplay trailer out, and I figured now was a good time to start up my coverage of BioMutant, give it some love because I really like what I saw here. I was afraid it was going to be canceled, even though they did reassure us earlier that it was not canceled and they just had their heads down, they were working on it. But what we saw was excellent, but more importantly, it was unique. There's a bit of jank here, and you'll notice that as the gameplay rolls on, but I think there's also a lot to love for RPG fans, so I thought it would be a great fit for the channel, especially because my first big game for the channel was Fallout, and I know a lot of you guys here already like post-apocalyptic, so you got one check in the box already. IGN also did conduct an interview with one of the developers, so we're going to be grabbing all the details from the gameplay trailer, from what the developer said, mashing it together into this video to inform you so you can decide whether or not in the future you want to look into more of BioMutant. So let's get it kicked off. You can create your own character in this game. You choose between 6 different tribes, and each tribe represents a different DNA strand, which you are free to mutate / morph into your own version. The appearance of your character does impact your stats, and furthermore, at the beginning of the game, you can choose a class, whether it be Commando, Psy-Freak. These were just 2 of the examples they gave. Commando being this Rambo-like figure, while Psy-Freak is almost a mage inside the BioMutant universe. This determines your starting proficiencies and weapons, so essentially it sets you off from the get-go. But they did confirm that later in the game, things do open up where you can switch up your playstyle. So they said they wanted to narrow things down early on, so you had little choice but to go with that class that you had selected. So there's a bit of choice and consequence early on, but as the game progresses, you enter what I like to call the God mode, and you can kind of just do what you want, it seems, so long as you're putting the time into the game, which I think is fair. Depending on what role-playing game it is, I do like the power creep. This one, BioMutant, seems more like a gameplay-styled RPG, so I'm totally fine with it being a power creep where you start to go into the God mode. If it's something like Cyberpunk 2077, I like where I make a decision in the beginning of the game, and because there's also story implications, that everything feels confined so I can come back and replay it in a different way multiple times. But I was really blown away that this humongous game was by a team of 18 people, and the amount of things that they're boasting with BioMutant has me very excited. So let's continue on talking about the world itself. I'm really not sure what's happening with the story. I tried researching it, but it didn't really seem like that was a major focus for them. But as for actually exploring the world, something that seems very important in this game, it takes a bit of inspiration for Breath of the Wild, which actually wasn't out by the time they were developing this game, so it's just a bit coincidental in mechanical overlap. But they mention how, let's say you're in a cold biome where you have snow falling, you will actually have to put on heavier clothes to warm up your character. Same thing goes for when you're in a hotter region, you'll have to wear a different outfit. And they can allow you to set presets for your character, so you can just press a button on the D-pad and boom, you've changed to the proper outfit for that location you're in. I just thought this was good for immersion purposes, as immersive as you can be for playing as like a furry creature in a post-apocalyptic open world who somehow knows martial arts. But hey, I digress. Still, immersion. Seriously though, it just kind of builds on top of what this game clearly is, which is a gameplay focused RPG. So I just like the idea of having to react to the world instead of going to a cold area, but I'm just wearing whatever I want. I just think that extra step is always nice for the gameplay. Now, as for the actual fighting itself, there's a lot going on here, because like I said, you got the kung fu action, but then you've got guns, then you've got melee weapons, and then you've got mutant abilities. And there's just so much here. You have a degree of agility where you're dodge rolling, back flipping, jumping around, shooting your guns, floating, using like earth bending and popping someone up in the air, shooting them. There's a lot happening here, and this is where I noticed, you know, a bit of the jank, and I'm more forgiving of that because it is 18 people. When you see the world is so big, there's so much happening here, there's so much choice, and then you know it's 18 people, like you could just fill like one room with that many developers, and that's how many are working on this humongous game. I find that a little more easy to forgive with the jank side of things. So you'll see weapons like two-handed swords, gigantic hammers, you saw dual wielding pistols, then there was like an auto rifle, there was just so many different weapons. It really shocked me, especially for a kung fu game. And to me, this speaks to me in a way because I'm a huge fan of Jade Empire. A lot of you guys will know I actually went back in 2017 and I re-reviewed Jade Empire, and it was my first time ever playing it because as an old school BioWare fan, I was pretty disappointed that I never gave this game a fair chance, but man, is it good. And so this is almost the strange spiritual successor to that, although we don't know what kind of story decisions, if any, you'll be able to make. Now, while you're exploring this world, there's a various amount of objectives you can take on. Two that this trailer highlighted, and I imagine they'll be the two major ones, are number one, outposts. Outposts are seemingly very similar to the likes of Far Cry, whereas you clear the location out. Once all the enemies are gone, yep, the outpost has been cleared and you've taken it over, and that seems to be really it. As for the second part, there are gigantic boss monsters. Like I said, it's so out of nowhere, it's kind of jaw-dropping because it's such a small team working on it. But yeah, there's really two core elements to the world and the exploration. We'll see if that evolves at all down the line. But with such a big world, how are you going to get around in a speedy manner? Well, I'm sure you've already saw, but you can paraglide, you can ride a boat, a mech, sure, why not? Hot air balloon, okay. Mounts, yup. Submarine, check. Oh my God, what is with this team, man? They are magicians. There are so many ways to get around the open world. I can't wrap my head around it. You're telling me I can mount another beast as a beast, or I could get in a submarine and fight some giant creature underwater? Okay. You got no argument for me, man. Sold. Sold. Like literally every game ever, there is crafting and looting to some extent. Fortunately, this doesn't seem to be too much of an afterthought. Like I feel 95% of crafting mechanics since The Last of Us 1 have been. So pretty much what happens is you'll collect resources throughout the world, but what I noted was when you were looking at the weapons, there were multiple dots on them. So you could look at the handle or the pommel, or you could look at parts of the blade, and you could augment those and customize your own weapon on top of what was already there. Furthermore, the thought you had to put into what weapon you had and the character we were building seemed to be important because some weapons demanded certain attributes, certain skills. For example, the hammer demanded 50 strength and a crush weapon skill. So I liked how you were kind of limited in that regard as well, and the gameplay actually supports that idea. I know crafting and all that stuff isn't that exciting. I'm there with you. I like it being there, but it's just one of those things that hasn't been innovated upon in so many years, and it just serves as a resource management system for like 90% of games to justify putting little dots all over the map. So this seems a little more thoughtful, but still kind of the same thing we've seen for many, many years. Now, if you're interested and you've stayed this long, you're probably wondering, when is BioMutant releasing? Well, there's this new trend in games where you give a maybe date, or you give a really weird date. We saw with Baldur's Gate 3, they said it's coming in August 2020, maybe, you know, because God forbid we have a straight line of communication with the people paying for our stuff. Let's be goofy about it. I know some people are going to call me a buzzkill. I hope you realize I'm the last person to be a buzzkill usually, but like this stuff is stupid. And so BioMutant finally gets re-revealed, and they say it's coming when they're happy with it. And like I said, as someone who cares about the games industry, cares about the well-being of certain developers, especially smaller teams like this, yeah, I want you to be happy with the game you're working on when you do release it. That's more important than anything, but why bother revealing it if you are not ready to give us a date, especially when it's been so long? They did confirm in the IGN interview that it was a game that's in the technical stages of development, so they are currently squishing bugs and making sure that the player experience is as good as possible. That said, I'm kind of over this phase already after 2 games have done these weird announcement dates. I just, like, dude, it's yes, it's fun. Video games are fun, but they're still a business. It's still people's money on the line. It's still people's attention online when it comes to a very fast-moving industry. So I just hope this trend ends as soon as humanly possible. But hey, that's just me, and overall, it does not dilute my excitement for BioMutant, which is now on my radar, a post-apocalyptic, gameplay-oriented RPG with lots of kung fu action, guns, melee weapons, tons of vehicles to explore the world in, gigantic boss fights, outposts to clear. If the gameplay smooths up a little bit and it is as fun as it looks, then I think we have ourselves a hidden gem on our hands. But anyway, I wanted to share with all of you a hidden RPG. Hopefully this video makes the rounds. We've had a good trend in our past of showcasing RPGs that maybe aren't getting enough attention, so I do hope that BioMutant ends up being one of those. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of BioMutant? Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you once again to all the patrons, all the Twitch subs. Appreciate all of you guys who continue to support the heck out of what we're doing here and making a difference, especially when that yellow dollar sign shows up. So I'll talk with all of you soon, all right? Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.